The Voice of the Cape on 91.3 FM stereo. Your station for faith, culture and community. Tune in. Stay inspired.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a warm welcome to the Voice of the Cape online Matric revision program, proudly sponsored by the Two Oceans Graduate Institute, an accredited online platform where you can become a primary or a high school teacher by studying in the privacy and comfort of your own home. For more information, you can visit www.togi.ac.za or call 021-829-7015. And today we're very honored to have a new facilitator joining us for the series of online sessions on various subjects. But today we have Rushaad White, who will be covering the subject of, and that is computer applications technology. And today the topic that will be unpacked is paper 1, practical solution development, and that is pertaining to database, and practical aspects of that. But before we get into the lesson with Rushaad, just a bit of background on his educational, experience. He has a Bachelor of Education, which is a B.Ed degree with a specialisation in computer application technology. And he's also got a deep academic foundation in the subject. Rushaad has also engaged with this discipline throughout his secondary schooling, as that would be from grade 10 to 12, and then professionally he has extended this expertise by teaching computer application technology to learners in grade 10 to 12 at a school in Cape Town. And he obviously joins us today, but also just to remind you that if you are an educator, you'd like to, just like Rushaad and so many educators who have joined us, if you'd like to, give back to the community and facilitate your very own matric revision session on the Voice of the Cape Facebook or YouTube platform, you can simply email me. And my email address is conita@vocfm.co.za. That's QUANITA@vocfm.co.za, and that is to come on board and join us for this series of Matric revision lessons. But today we hand over to Rushaad, who will proceed with the lesson.
Good evening, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's lesson on Microsoft Access, also known as MS Database. This lesson is part of your Computer Applications Technology subject, also known as CAT, and my goal today is to introduce you to the basics of databases and how MS Access can be used to create and manage data effectively. Now, I know that you've been sitting in your desks all year long trying to figure out what Access is all about, and at this point your textbook may seem just way too much and it causes information overload. So I'm going to try and break down your past matric year into just a concise video. So let's get started. What is MS Access? MS Access is a database management system, or DBMS for short. It's a tool that helps us create, manage, and use databases. So in simple terms, it helps us to organize large amounts of data so that we can retrieve it easily when needed. In the screenshot, I'm sure that all of you know this interface. This is the start when you open the application. This is the start of your database. So for the next slide, we'll dive into what specifically is a database. Before we go further, actually, we need to understand what a database is and how we can use them effectively. So once again, a database is a collection of data or data organized so that we can easily access it, manage it, and update it. Think about it like a digital filing cabinet, storing important information, or even your clothing cabinet where you have your t-shirts neatly packed with your shirts hanged, and your jeans are packed according to specific colors, and you have your winter jackets and then maybe your t-shirts on the other side. So we store our clothes neatly, and in the same way we store our data neatly onto a platform called the database. So we use databases in our everyday life. For example, social media platforms use them to store your posts and messages, and even schools use them to keep track of student details. Now in the screenshot there's an example of business cards with, in the first column you have contact ID, the first name, last name, moving all the way down to the email of the client. For the next slide, why should we use MS Access? Firstly, it helps us to organize data into a structured format. Secondly, it allows us to link related information like learners and their subjects. Then thirdly, we can use queries to search for specific information. And then finally, we can create forms to input data, and reports we use to present that data in an organized way. So that is just a chronological explanation of why we need to use MS Access and the functionalities within the MS Access software. For our fifth slide, I would like to break down the key components of MS Access. Number one, the tables are where we store data. It is our point of departure, like a spreadsheet. Queries allow us to ask questions of the data, like searching for learners who scored above 80%. Forms, on the other hand, are used to enter data easily, and then reports that help us to summarize and present our data in a deciphered manner, in a way that's understandable for our viewers or the people who would need to review that data and turn it into information. For the next slide, why learn MS Access? You might be wondering, sitting in class, thinking to yourself, why am I even doing this? Why am I important? Is this going to be part of my job one day? But yes, of course, learning MS Access has a real world application. Almost every industry from banking to healthcare use databases. Then secondly, learning how to create and use databases helps you to develop problem solving skills. And then finally, it lays a strong foundation for future learning, whether you go into IT, business, or any field that relies on data management. That is one of the core reasons why we need to learn about MS Access, or learn how to navigate through the platform. Then for the last slide, this is a hands-on introduction. This lesson or this video was just introduce MS Access to you. For the next lesson, I will be taking you through each of the functions within database, showing you how to navigate through it and work through activities. But this is just a hands-on introduction activity for you. So first you need to open Microsoft Access and then select blank database. That's in step 1. Then next, create a table by entering fields like the following: name, ID, and grade. Thereafter, switch the dataset or switch to datasheet view, and start entering the data. Finally, you will create a simple query to show all students with grades above 80%. Now that you've been introduced to the basics, it would be your turn to incorporate these steps. Your task would be to create a simple student information database. Start by designing a table, then enter the data, and then finally create a query to search for specific information like grades above 80%. Remember students, practice makes perfect, and the more you work with MS Access, the easier it will become.
Welcome to the Voice of the Cape on 91.3 FM
A
stereo.
big shukran to Rushaad for a very informative lesson today, being on paper one. So that means if you are, preparing for your examination and you are a student who is preparing for the computer application technology paper one exam, then this will definitely be beneficial for you. This topic covered is solution development database. And to also just inform you, in our sessions we get subject experts on these matters, and Rushaad White is one of those educators who has dedicated their time for the series. He has a Bachelor of Education degree with a specialisation in computer application technology, and he's also got a deep foundation in terms of his background, having in his secondary schooling career he actually engaged in the subject as well from grade to 10 to 12, and then professionally is teaching computer application technology to learners in grades 10 to 12 at a school in Cape Town. So definitely he has a wealth of knowledge where that is concerned. We hope that this session has been beneficial to you, and please do like and share with all matriculants who can benefit from these sessions. But also a big thank you to our sponsor, being the Two Oceans Graduate Institute. They are an accredited online platform where you can become a primary or high school teacher by studying in the privacy of your home. You can visit www.togi.ac.za or call 021-829-7015. That's 021-829-7015. And that is our sponsor of the Voice of the Cape online Matric revision program. Well, from myself, Kanita Kamar, and our guest today, Rushaad White, we bid you farewell. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.